Ready? Okay. Let's take control of distractions. Aren't they just so annoying? Let's do it. Okay, this is for busy leaders who really want to do a great job at work, want to support their teams, but also want to live their own beautiful life. So I'm putting together a little something called the Brain Savvy Membership starting in 2025. So I want to tell you all about it. Okay. And then let's see, what is going on today with busy leaders, right? Distracted equals unhappy. So let me show you a book. It is called The Myths of Happiness. And I love to dig into research for folks because I'm a neuroimmunologist, I'm a business owner, I'm a mom of four. I love efficiency and I love sharing resources. That seems to be my happy place. I've looked in many places, and my happiest place is sharing resources with folks. So I dug through this, as you can see, kind of chewed it up, and I'm just going to share research-based information today just for you guys, for the busy leaders out there. Now, generally, I speak to women leaders, right? And Susie Orman has this line like women leaders, or she says, her podcast is for women and anyone else smart enough to listen. So I'll use that same line. It's a cute line, of course. It's nothing against male leaders, of course, but as a female leader, I understand the background, the culture, the socioeconomic, kind of challenges, the cultural assumptions about women leaders. Of course, we've, just gone through an election that shows that people have trouble just even believing that a woman can be a leader. And we see that. I've seen that in just my 30 years of being in medicine. And so let's dive into this. So distracted, why is it unhappy? When we have a goal that we're following. So the interesting thing about this amazing book by Dr. Lubomirsky, happens to be a female researcher, leader. She dove into the research and performed all these studies about where are people the happiest and what are the actual myths of happiness. Because why do we perpetuate myths? I am against that, right? I think that's inefficient. Why don't we deal with the truth? Because I think we can, right? I believe in us. I believe that we can deal in the truth. So when we're distracted, we're unhappy. And of course, with phones, et cetera, today, and so many, fast moving advertisements, et cetera, on social media, we're just used to fast, fast, fast. So we tend to be distracted because things are coming at us so fast. We're doing multiple things. Recently I was giving a workshop to a smallish team, and some of the team members had their laptops open, their phones open, some had their laptop and two phones open. And so, I gave everyone kind of a bowl of coins, like, okay, you start the day with this much attention. And if you have one screen open, you have to take out a coin. You have two screens open, take out a coin. Three screens open, you take out a coin. So we can't follow these myths that we can follow multiple open screens, that we can multitask. It's just not reality. So many studies have shown us multitasking is not real. We can't do it, right? And so when we try to, we have to code switch between all the things we're trying to pay attention to. So when we're distracted, it's not our happy state. We're not focused. So, Dr. Lubomirsky says nearly all of us has bought into the myths of happiness, that we can do many things. We can, multitask, and we can follow our dreams, which is all great as long as we know that our dreams are meaningful and we have a goal. So if we're pursuing a goal, that's our happy place because we typically have looked into what we need. We need who's on our journey with us to pursue a goal. So our happiness doesn't come from succeeding. It's not the graduation that makes us the happiest, believe it or not. It's pursuing the goal. So if you just graduated, you're at your first job and you're thinking like, ugh, I don't know why this doesn't feel great because I was super excited to get the job. So it's when you're pursuing a goal, that's our happy place. So we have to think about what goal are we pursuing now? And we can set a new goal. It's okay. We can do this. So busy leaders today, we're going to look at long-lasting solutions. You're rock stars, you're doing a lot of things, but we can keep learning. We can gain new insights. We can feel tired and exhausted and feel toast, but we can add some new insights, add some new actions. So that's what I love to do in Brain Fresh. I run a course called, Rebalance. I run an accountability group. I love to run these groups where we work together and we set a goal and we try to nail our goals together, and we do, and we break them down into tactics. And then what are we doing each week? So this is the important thing, that we are actually pursuing our goals. So today, this webinar, who's it for? So it's for busy leaders that want to help others. You still want to feel creative. You want to acknowledge you've done a lot of things. You have a lot of degrees, you have a lot of, different titles, but you want to keep growing because that is, in a neuroscience way, our best place. That's how we feel vital. But you want some guidance. You want someone to show you, like, hey, where can I save some time and energy in reading all the research? Because I will read it for you because I love it. And then provide a safe community to explore some new things, to try some new things. As leaders, a lot of people tend to be watching you. And so, in this zone where I like to create a safe place at Brain Fresh for leaders to feel supported and feel comfortable, it is scary. There are emotions when we're learning, we're trying something new. But you also want to have impact in your community. You see a lot of challenges within your team, within your communities, your organizations. You want to also feel valued. It's really important to personally feel valued, and we can do that ourselves, but it's really nice when our teams or our own leaders acknowledge us as well. So here's what we're going to learn in this masterclass: 10 common challenges that women leaders tend to face when we're trying to align with our own unique, our strengths, our purpose. How do we find that clear path on what matters to us? Because we want to have meaning in our work. At the end of the day, we want to make sure we feel valued, we have meaning, that we're supporting others, yes, but we also have to care for ourselves, give ourselves our own nourishment. That's what I do in my accountability groups and my rebalance groups. So that's why I decided to put it all together for next year, 2025. I'm opening a new membership called Brain Savvy for busy leaders, probably mostly women leaders, but anyone else smart enough to join us. So I offer a framework to help busy leaders navigate, demanding careers. Everyone should not have to figure this out on their own. So I like to dive into the neuroscience research and provide it for you in a very understandable, break it down into bite-sized pieces, so that we can find our joy, our purpose, and our meaning professionally. And we can look at some models of culture. So what is culture? So we tend to see the top of the tip of the iceberg, the white part of it, and we see, oh, okay. Yeah. So culture is some obvious markers of, I work in healthcare. We know when we're in healthcare, we see stethoscopes, we see white coats, we see gurneys, people getting pushed on beds around the hall, that you don't see that in a banking environment. So sometimes things are very obvious in the culture. There's not many meetings you go into and you change your clothes, but in healthcare, you go and you change your clothes. You don't do that in a banking environment, or you go and see your financial advisor. You don't see that. You don't do that when you go meet your architect. So certain cultures are, it's very clear what it is. But then there's kind of a mid-level of the culture with the norms and the values of that culture. So what is just a norm of being in that environment, and things that we tend to understand and the values of that culture. A lot of organizations will have it on the wall, et cetera, but do the workers or people that work there actually know the values? We tend to know the norms in healthcare, as well as so many other organizations, deep in the, down deep in the ocean, at the tip of the iceberg, there are assumptions and belief of what is expected, what are the norms, what is assumed about people that work there, about people we're helping. So these are the things we have to be careful of, that we have to question, that we always have to hold them up to the light of day. Are these the truths now? Because things change over time. And with neuroscience, we're always learning. Just like that book says, there's myths of happiness. There's things we understood to be the norms and to actually bring us happiness, and it tends not to be true. So culture, a lot of times I also think it's like this muddy water. You're the beautiful lotus flower, of course, trying to build that beautiful life, a meaningful, rich life. Rich meaning, your life is filled with things that are important to you, whether it be your values, your purpose, what's important to you to have in your own communities. And so you're popping through this muddy water, and muddy water has a lot of nutrients, has a lot of nourishment, but also has dead things in there and things like old ideas. And so this is what we have to challenge sometimes, is what are the things that we're perpetuating, and does the research still support these things? And what's it like in healthcare today? So women in medicine, in these, survey results, these survey studies, they show it's a very stressful environment. They don't find control over their schedule. They report gender discrimination, But yet, women docs have very positive outcomes in how they care for patients, how they do preventative care, even surgical outcomes, ICU outcomes. Many studies have been shown that women in the workplace have super positive outcomes because of the quality time they spend with patients, their families. They tend to a lot of times be very collaborative, very emotionally intelligent, have high EQ, they can read the room, and partnership building when there's a challenge. So because of the common nature of, accepted behavioral norms of how women are in the workplace, we see very positive outcomes, at least in healthcare. I can't speak for every industry. But does it sound like you that you just remember the joy, your first day of work, you're so honored to have that position or to get into that, MBA, what have you. But now you're going through your workday, like, what do I have to do today? What's the latest? What challenge are we going to run into? What fire do I have to put out? And you're looking for opportunities to feel valued. You hoped for more. You're just navigating inequities and you feel kind of stuck. I really believe, that even though work is exhausting, carries a risk of burnout and suicide in medicine and healthcare, women docs have 4 times the risk of suicide. But we still need to support our families and, we want to leave an impact in our communities. So how do we do this? Some people are deciding to do a side hustle. So they have a various, multiple income streams, so that they don't feel stuck financially, that they feel like they have opportunities. And some really, interesting books have been published about, potential ways to navigate this and the reality of the women in the workforce. And this is a really interesting book I highly recommend called Fair Shake, written by law professors. And it really explains why women are not advancing in the workplace, why they are kind of like hitting a certain level of management and not, the numbers are not increasing kind of decade to decade, even though they did for a bit, they're kind of stalled. And the gender wage gap is also stalled. Now, so there's been little improvement actually in the 90s and well, these decades here. So what are we going to do? What are our options today? Well, in medicine, we have a high rate of burnout. People just see the only option is to leave. Do you know how long ago it was reported in medicine? Just put it in the chat. What do you think? When burnout was first reported? 1974. So it's not news. Burnout is not news. It's been around a really long time. And the problem today, people are overwhelmed, they're confused. There's no time for family and friends. We have this myth that we're perpetuating that we have to put all our time toward work, no, and cut out family and friends. We don't have a lot of confidence in looking for what really matters to us. We're not sure what our priorities are anymore. We just get on that escalator of people that went before us, feel like we're a bit floundering. So let's pause, take a deep breath. What can we do today? Can we look for points where we can control? How can we feel like work is important though? Work in a neuroscience way, it really helps our brain to stay wired, challenges us, helps us see new opportunities, new perspectives. It helps us feel important and useful in our communities. It can have both positive and negative consequences in our brain though. So we need to give it extra support when we wanted to learn, when we wanted to try something new. So we need to give ourselves extra nourishment when we're doing something like this, like going to a webinar, learning something new in a master class, when we want to grow. And we can drive our own professional growth. We don't have to wait to be tapped on the shoulder like you're the next one that gets the leadership training, that we can drive this. So once we adapt to this and we realize that some things have just been perpetuated that are really not real, they are myths. We can feel less stuck, less confused, less disorganized, less frustrated, less embarrassed that we have to go find our own resources. So leaders can actually feel empowered, creative, informed, enthusiastic, brave, courageous, valued. We can do this. I really think that we should ought to be able to build a beautiful life and have meaningful work. I don't think we should have to choose one or the other. And it is intimidating, embarrassing to have to look for resources to build a complicated well-being plan or empowerment plan for us to avoid burnout and a high suicide risk in medicine, while also supporting our families and our communities and our team members. So I'm Dr. Mary Rensel. I'm a business coach, a business owner, a keynote speaker, a mom of four. So I'm interested in this as well. This means something to me. I've been working for 30 years in, a high-level healthcare system. I got my business coach training from Hello 7 because I wanted to provide more opportunities and insights for leaders that feel stuck and frustrated, whether they be in healthcare and other industries. I'm boarded in neurology and integrative medicine. I serve on various boards. I'm a best doctor in Cleveland, Ohio for a lot of years. I'm a CEO and I founded a business and I'm a mom of four. My youngest is in college. Um, so who's ready? Who's ready to hear these top 10 challenges so we can, figure out how to navigate around them, over them, through them, under them. Well, there are main themes, and they're probably not surprising to you, but they're main themes. There's gender inequities in the workforce. We tend to learn very limited business training as women, growing up. I see even in the high schoolers, taking the business courses, a lot of males, in the innovation, competitions in the high school, mostly males. One of my daughters did it. But there's not a lot of female leaders advising the girls on how to do it in healthcare. In high school, I see that in healthcare as well. I went into an innovation meeting and it was mostly men in, the European fit suits, and I was in my white coat. And they had a language I didn't really know. And so it's not a welcoming environment when you don't really have background to understand what the heck's going on and how to understand the language. And we all have a balancing act between work and home. Men do as well. Women tend to have more duties at home, hours worth each day. And then society tells us be quiet, follow the norm, get on the escalator, follow who's in front of you, believe these myths, perpetuate the myths, keep going with the myths. I'm not for that. I'm all for evidence-based. That's why I built Brain Savvy. It's a membership I'm opening in 2025. So feel free to DM me and or email me at thebrainfresh@gmail.com, thebrainfresh@gmail.com, and I'll give you all the information. And I'm giving a deal before 2025. So jump in. You can be my beta testers. We can figure this out together. Um, so what are the challenges that busy with women leaders, even with the best intentions, we're battling the myths, we're battling these systems that are perpetuated. So there's gender disparities in the opportunities, there's lack of business training, there's time constraints because we have so many other responsibilities at home. And a lot of times, even at work, the women have the responsibilities to, run the birthday parties and the things that really we can't really put in our CVs or our resumes. We have more home responsibilities. You heard my dogs in the background, with the kids, the dogs, in the communities. And it's a norm. I find, women talk about their work and what's happening less when I'm at like, birthday parties for the kids or at social events. Women don't talk about work a lot. They talk about themselves or, their families, but we're not really sharing resources even at social events. So there's a lot of societal norms and expectations of women when we're out in the communities that we don't talk about all the great things that are happening at work, the things that we've accomplished, the things that we're doing for our teams. So there's a lot of challenges then because we can't even share what is going well, so we can help other women in the workplace as well. And there's financial challenges because women have a harder time getting finances if they want to start a new business. There's lack of mentorships. I saw it straight from high school all through my kids, even, through college. My girls would tell me the boys would always get up and give their reports for the teams. So there's just some norms that are perpetuated, these myths that are being perpetuated through all the way through the educational system and through the workplace system. A lot of times we do really great work and then we're waiting to be chosen to be tapped on the shoulder, like you're the next one that gets to have the leadership training, rather than just jumping in, finding opportunities for ourselves. I'm a big proponent for driving your own professional opportunities, your professional development and your personal development to provide and think about, take time to pause and think your holistic personal development is everything in your beautiful life that you want now. I see a lot of people wait, like, oh, when I'm retired, I think I'll have a great life. I'll be in shape then. I'll call my friends then. Well, the time is now. There's gender inequities in innovation. Like I said, I've go to those meetings and they're just like, I saw, gosh, it was like 97% males in the meeting I went to. And then the culture is, we're taught we're perpetuated these myths, like just put your nose down, grind, grind, grind till you're retired. And it's not how we get our best ideas. It's not how we relate to others. It's not how we build networks. It's not how we build friendships. We have to have friendships for our health and our well-being. And then in society, we're taught to be quiet. Don't question the norms. And the norms need to be questioned, right? That's what we do in my program called Rebalance. I do that in my women accountability group. I do that in my new membership. I put it all together starting next year in 2025. It's called Brain Savvy for busy leaders because I know you don't have time as a busy leader to read all the resources and to really understand the neuroscience. I love to dig into it, make it really understandable, and present it to you in a framework and with, just weekly tactics so that you can make it real and you can put it into your life. I want you to feel creative and empowered. That is how we feel vital. So just like I started with this book, The Myths of Happiness, the time we feel most vital is when we're growing, when we're pursuing our goals. So we're all just confused, like, why aren't we happy when we have that job? Because we have to set a new goal. We have to set a new goal and pursue it together with our own accountability group. And that's why I built Brain Savvy. And the people that join that, they're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize life was flying by. I didn't even know it was important to me. I had these dreams that would pop in once in a while. I get a little window of like, oh, it'd be amazing if I could do X, Y, and Z. Well, let's slow down and get closer to it, right? Okay. So I want you to feel like you're rocking it, you're living it, you're owning it, you feel empowered, you feel creative, and you're driving it. We're not sitting back passively waiting for others to decide what's best for us, right? So believe it or not, the neuroscience really shouts that's really important to keep fun in your life. Don't lock it out and just do that work grinding, right? You have to protect your melon. That's what we'll call what's between our ears, just for fun, is that we have to lock out distractions and protect it because our attention is so important. Our focus is so important. Everybody wants it, right? And then we have to learn how to fine tune our energy, our emotional energy throughout the workday. I don't think we talk enough about how important our work setting is on how productivity, how productive we will be, how our productivity is throughout the week. We have to learn how to navigate positive emotional tools, and they're out there. Again, Dr. Lubomirsky recommends them. There's other books by other researchers who really have clear guidance on how to put positive emotions in our week because that gets us more productive, more creative, and so we can also think like, how do we align with how we are made, our own neural powers, like what we're really good at? What are our strengths? And how do we even strengthen our gifts? How do we name them and strengthen them and get them into our lives? Because it feels so good to work in our strengths rather than fighting them all day, to always think about what we don't have, instead live with what we do have and really, really just shine with that. We absolutely have to acknowledge that we need to have safe people around us, people that support us to build that accountability group. And that's what we do in Brain Savvy. And I've been doing with my Women Doc accountability group. And that's been going so well that I put that in our membership, Brain Savvy membership. And these ones we can't really jump into so much. We don't have all that time, but we want to make sure that we build and reach out to our support team, build a really supportive, honest, small accountability group. We can't think 30 people are going to help us. We have to really know like who are our support people. I can't believe how important it is to know what angers us because the leadership books that go into this make so much sense to me because this is my personal experience as well. Because this is really how they explain it. It's crossing your values. So something that crosses our values, it really fires us up. So it gives us energy to make change. So we have to acknowledge that. And we put that in the Brain Fresh framework. I put it in because it's really life changing. And we dive into that. And then building courage. By building courage, we do that by taking action. So we do that together in a safe way through our accountability group. Okay. So when we look at these, which one are you in red, yellow, green? Which one just comes so easy to you? We'll say green. Which one's so green that you do it regularly? You always have fun in your week. You always protect your attention. You lock out distractions. You know how to manipulate or navigate your emotions through the workday. What do you think? What would you say are your greens? So go ahead and put it in the chat. If you're watching this later, go ahead and put it in the chat. But it's really important to know which ones we're really good at. We already have, but we're good. Which ones are red? Like, we don't do this. We need to know more about it. I need some guidance on how to do this so that I can learn myself and bring it to my teams. And that's what we'll do in Brain Savvy membership. So why would it matter to have fun in our life? Believe it or not, it's super important. Okay, there's books written about this stuff. There's a great book called The Power of Fun. There's a book called Positivity. I'm glad to share these books with you. Just email me again at thebrainfresh@gmail.com. Because we can feel stuck, we can feel busy, but we need to slow down and do what we can to shift our emotions into the positive balance. Fun is great at this. Fun, we don't have judgment. Fun, we're with other people, we're connecting with other people, we're usually physical. So fun checks a lot of boxes. So I have to make sure that we're purposely putting fun in all of our weeks. Make sure you have at least something fun every week. It will help your creativity, your clarity, your focus. Super important. And that's how we prime our brain. So I'd like to think of these first three petals of our lotus flower. Remember, we talked about them floating in the culture, which was that muddy water. There's good things in muddy water. There are nourishing things. There are also dead things. So there are things that are being perpetuated, and we have to know what is being perpetuated that's just a myth. Okay? The research does not suggest that that is even a fact anymore. So these are the things we have to get rid of. That's how we protect our melon. We focus on the things that matter, we know are evidence-based, and that's what we do in Brain Savvy. So please join me. So that I call brain priming. We get our brain ready so that we can live fully, we can feel empowered, we can help our teams, we can help ourselves find that beautiful life. We're not going to wait till we're retired for this stuff, right? How can we protect our melon? Why does it matter? Well, our brain is our essence. We don't want to open all our doors and windows of our homes and just let anyone in, right? We lock the doors. Our focus, our attention is key. Okay? We have a lot of gifts, we have a lot of strengths, but we cannot use them if we're letting everyone in at every time. I did a little test at work and I found there were 12 channels for people to get to me in my workday between emails, my phones, just so many channels that pagers that people could get to me. So imagine if you're at your house and you open all your doors to equal 12. 12 windows and doors were open every day. Anyone could come in. It's not safe, right? We talk about psychological safety. We don't want everybody coming in. We need to protect ourselves, right? So why do we do this? Because we want to protect our attention, our focus, and so we can live in our strengths. We can help our communities and our teams and our organizations. We cannot do that if we're sharing our energy with everybody that it's not our priority, but they're taking our attention. Okay? We need to fortify our creativity. Again, that's brain priming when we make that a green rather than a red. Okay, how about fine-tuning your energy? Why? Why does it matter? Well, they're stressful, long hours. We can have magical thinking. We want this parasympathetic, sympathetic balance. We want to make sure we're more in the well, we want to make sure we have a balance. We're rebalancing through the day. Sympathetic is great. That's our like get the work done. We need that throughout the day. We can't just be daydreaming all day, but we need just a little reprieve with our parasympathetic throughout the day. Okay. Do you step away from the desk? Do you step away from the computer? I've spoken to a lot of people who are on the computer all day. They even have their coffee and their breaks on their computer. You have to step away, show your brain nature, just get away. If you have a furry pet your furry pet, that's parasympathetic. Move your body, just stretch, do some squats in your room before you get back on. We need to do something that shifts our neurologic system so that we can go back to focus. But if we don't do the wide picture, that won't help our creativity throughout the day. So we have to think about our days. What are we in the red? What are we in the yellow? What are we in the green? That's what we do within our Brain Savvy membership. It's opening soon. Just email me at thebrainfresh@gmail.com. So which one's your fave? Do you like to prime your brain, get it ready? Do you like to align with your strengths in your team? Or do you like to design and make sure you have an accountability group that's helping you design and take action? Which one? What do you like? Go ahead, put it in the chat. Okay, what have we learned? Well, we've learned, we've had some insight into culture. We know now that culture has multiple levels. We know that I in healthcare work in a high-risk profession, as do so many other professions. And there are common challenges and there are myths that are being perpetuated. Many of our colleagues, at least in healthcare, because of the high risk of burnout are in emotional distress, and it's contagious. Our emotional level is contagious to each other, so we have to be careful about that. But there is a clear neuroscience framework, 9-point framework, that I have dug into the research and just made it really simple for everybody that I love to share in my programs. I've shared it in my accountability groups. I've shared it in Rebalance. I share it in framework. I shared it in my keynotes and my workshops. I also am going to share it in my membership. So you can bring your team in the membership, bring your leadership teams so that you can share it then with your teams. But there are solutions. It's great news to help us find purpose, to help us focus, to help us find meaning professionally. We can stop waiting to be chosen, waiting for someone else to see what we're worth and what our value is. We can drive this and we can navigate all the myths that are being perpetuated. Okay. So we know how to be that beautiful locust flower just floating in that culture, right? We know how now to brain and prime. We know what to do. Okay, you have a choice. You can leave things the same, it can stay the same, or you can change. We all have a choice. Every day we have a choice, right? We can prime, we can align, we can design with your own neural powers. You can stop, you can pause, you can think about what's really important to you. What do you see in the horizon for yourself? And the good news is adults can change. There are researchers looking at this. How easy is it for adults to change? Once adults learn to use and to learn about neuroscience insights, it can change and they can help their teams change. So we're not stuck. We just have to know how to use the neuroscience literature. Why do I do this? Well, I have a picture of Girl Scouts up there because I've been a Girl Scout leader to 3 troops. I really love sharing resources. I love watching people grow. I love watching people pursue goals because I see in real life that that is when people are the happiest. I don't believe the status quo is the end for us. I believe we all can band together and help each other out and support each other. So I did build this 4-week program. It's opening soon. Jump in. Here are the coupons. The one is only good for today. The other, actually, that stat coupon is actually good for Brain Savvy too. If you'll have the secret code if you want to get in with Brain Savvy. Just let me know. I'll send you the link, but it's only good today. And then Fun Today is a coupon that you can use for this week. So you have a week to go ahead and use that. And what is Rebalance? So it's a 4-week program. Life is flying by, but we try to stay focused, with action and peace of mind. We can go from floundering to very savvy, purpose-driven leaders. We can go from wasting energy and things, letting people have our energy and attention, to very calm and purposeful energy. We can go from confused to competent and smart planning. We can go from waiting for someone to give us some clarity to moving towards our values and our purpose. We can go from wanting to wish somebody would help us to leaving informed and purposeful. We can go from scared to a courageous action taker. And that's what we can do together. So I offer action-based sessions, clarity of values, 4-week, rebalance program. It's all, recorded. There are some live sessions. So jump in there, use that coupon. It's a good one just for today, though. These are my promises at the end of 4 weeks with Rebalance. This is what you'll have. So just take a picture of that QR code. Let me move this down. Go ahead and take a picture and use those coupons. I mean, the stat is only good for today. So jump in today. The other one's good only for a week. Jump in. But who's looking for some new strategies, some creativity, some empowerment, just feeling, it's towards the end of the year. Not sure what I'm going to do for my team. I'm not really feeling it for my team. And your energy is contagious for your team as a busy leader. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to support them. Our neuroscience, and we go over this as well, is that we are contagious to each other, our emotional levels. So if you're feeling like, I'm just going to let the end of the year kind of ride, but you really have some goals for the teams, now's the time to kind of use these new resources and insights. Okay, so just email me with any question you may have. The Brain Savvy membership opens for our beta group now. It's open, so jump in. Just email me at thebrainfresh@gmail.com. Okay, you got this. I believe in you. You can do it. New insights. Let's just stop perpetuating these myths. It's ridiculous. Okay.